and welcome, benvenuti to the ItalianCookingClass.com. Giuseppe here. Today we're doing some nice pasta fresca, some fresh pasta, and we're going to be making it in a tagliatelle shape. Very simple. I find that some people often have that situation where the pasta, it's too soft or it's too dry and they get the right consistency and makes it quite difficult to create. But it isn't hard, it's very simple. It's just about connecting to the food. Obviously some eggs, extra virgin olive oil, some water and some flour. Now the flour is important to get a durum mix with plain flour. You can already buy the pre-packaged packets of flour that are specifically made for pasta. You'll see pasta flour. We're going to put a little well in the center of the bowl, and the idea of that is so that we actually mix the ingredients in the bowl and then we'll actually knead them on the bench top. Couple of eggs, there's 2 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of olive oil and a couple of tablespoons of water. Now the water helps it to actually be more pliable and make it softer and more workable. We'll just mix those ingredients together like that, and as soon as we've got a nice even dry mix, what we'll do is we'll put it on the bench and we'll start working it quite rapidly so that all the moisture goes through it and it gets a nice even smooth dough, because otherwise what will happen is it'll lump up fairly quickly. So we'll just tip that out now into there like that. And we'll start working it, because there's still quite a lot of moisture, and when you're working it you want to work all the fibres of the doughs together in with the moisture. You want to push that moisture through. As you can see, the moisture of the egg and all of it coming together and absorbing it all. So the faster you can do this, the better. Otherwise it does get harder as each individual bit of flour and moisture works individually. You want it all to be working together as a whole, because you get a much smoother dough as well. And once we've done this, we actually then let it rest for about 20 minutes just to allow it to soften, and then we'll actually cut it into shape. As you can see, it's picking up more of the dry stuff around and it's working the moisture through it, so it's getting softer. You can see all the stuff now is being picked up, and we'll just knead it. We're just going to keep kneading it. So we've been kneading it for about 10 minutes now. As you can see, what you're doing is you're picking up the edges and folding it into itself. And you just keep doing it, and it's becoming smoother. It is a little bit of a dry mix. It can be a little bit more moist if you like. Put a little bit more water in there. Not too much, otherwise it gets too soft when you're cooking it. So this is what it's supposed to look like. Nice smooth thing there, and when you open it, just a dry mix there. And as it's put through the rollers of the machine, it'll even bind together more so, because it'll come under pressure and the moisture will get squeezed out. The dough's been sitting for 20 minutes now. We'll unwrap that, and you'll be able to notice how, oh yeah, that's much more pliable, it's much softer, it's actually released the moisture, and it's ready to go. What we'll do is I'm going to cut that in half because I'm going to save some for later. We'll wrap that back up, and the longer you leave it, it actually becomes softer and more pliable. Sometimes doughs are left overnight to give it that real softness. We'll just give it a quick little knead. Wonderful. There we go. And that's ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break it in small little pieces that you can handle, so it'll actually go through the machine. It'll go through the machine a lot easier. So we'll get rolling with that. Notice how there's no flour on the bench as well. We'll put a little bit on there just to make it slide a little bit better, but the mix is really just great because it doesn't stick or anything. It's just the right consistency. It's always good to keep the piece that's actually been not used, just to keep it wrapped up. So, okay, always keep it on the maximum opening. We'll just pass it through. See how it's got those little bit of binds? We'll just put it through again. We'll just fold it over and put it through. What we're doing is actually we're forcing all the moisture to the very ends, forcing all the moisture through it, as well as cross-hatching all the fibres in the dough and giving it more texture at the same time. You don't have to do it too many times. We'll go one more time. Fold it over and put it through there. Actually, one more time, we'll go that way. There we go, fold it over and put it through there. And now we'll start reducing the thickness. We don't have to fold it over anymore. We'll go to about, I like to do it in 2 goes. It was on 1, I want to go to 7, so I'll go at about 4. So we're going halfway of this next go. And we'll go on, we'll go to 7 now, so that'll be fine. And we can put it through again after we've let it sit on the bench top, because it does tend to rise a fraction. There we go, lovely. With just a little bit of flour there, just to give a little bit of slippery surface, that's all. Now we'll get this other one happening as well. So we'll put that back to 0 or 1, sorry, the most biggest opening there is, and we'll just shape it into what it's the direction that it's going. So it's going to be a rectangular shape, so we'll shape it that way because it goes to the machine better. We'll fold it over, we'll bring it back down through that way, and we'll fold it over again, we'll bring it back down through that way again. We'll fold it over, we'll bring it back across the other way, and we'll just go one more time now. There we go, we'll go down through there. It's just excellent. And now we'll start reducing. We'll do it in 2s again, we'll go to 4. Pass that through. Nice and easy. And we'll go to 7. And we'll pass that through. That's excellent. That's excellent. We'll do a little bit of flour. Again, we'll just put a bit of flour on top there. Just again to give a little bit of a slippery surface. Not that it's sticking too much, but notice how it's stuck a little bit because that moisture was pushed through the actual pasta sheet, obviously becoming then more moist, and it was stuck a little bit. So this one's a little bit slightly thicker, even though it was the same size, because it's actually risen. We'll just pass that through again, through the same size of the 7 that it is. There we go. Excellent. We'll just pull that out this way like that. So it actually folded over a little bit, but that's okay. That doesn't matter. We'll do this one as well. What I like to do is to fold it up on there and let it feed on its own, and then we can do a little bit of a trick. We'll just let it come down through. We don't want it to get caught though. There we go. Awesome. Now we're going to cut the pasta to the length that we would like the tagliatelle. And I'm going to do this in about half because they're going to come out nice and they'll sit nice on the plate. So we're going to use the wide cutter. We've got these tagliolini, the small, we're going to use the big one. So we'll just feed that in through there like that. There it goes through there just nicely. It's coming out the other end. We'll just wait for it to all come out. Voila. There we go, and we've got a bundle of tagliatelle there ready to go. Go down. There. We've got a nice bundle of tagliatelle ready to go. Very simple, very little time and effort. It's just understanding the right composition of the ingredients and working them. Here we've got the beautiful tagliatelle ready to go. Thank you for watching. This is Giuseppe from the Italian Cooking Class. Arrivederci, buon appetito.